everybody, and thank you for joining our Be Women weekly webinars to connect, to share of what really, learn what matters, and to dialogue in these in the midst of this very challenging time, these moments of isolation, where it's actually a unique opportunity for all of us to actually reimagine our future. So before we get started on this truly inspiring and inspiring and changing webinar on the next 50 minutes, with Carine Kindinger and her daughter. Carine is a master results coach. So this webinar is a workshop number 2, and the title is, Who Do We Become After This Crisis? Basically, what if this virus was the best thing that has ever happened to you in your personal and professional life? You know, what story will you tell in 10, 15, 20 years? And how you change, because if you change your story, you can change your life. For those that have not attended the workshop number 1, a few days ago, the title was, Who Do We Need to Be During This Crisis? So the recording of this webinar is in our website, Be Women Solutions, and whoever registered for this webinar will get the link to the recording. So I'm Giadorou, Koch, founder of Be Women, lawyer in the state of New York and Argentina, and passionate about the movement of using business as a force for good and the 2 burning issues of our society that are gender and climate change, that are the why of Be Women. Be Women is a global movement of a network of women entrepreneurs that seeks to balance purpose and profits in the markets towards a care economy. You heard me right, a care economy where people and environment are a driving force. So, Carine, it's an outstanding and inspiring coach for more than 20 years from Belgium. Her number 1 priority is to empower others to make massive action and make transformational changes in their personal and professional lives. She's author of an ebook, Launch Your New Career, that you will get the link very soon in the chat. And also this book will be the first book that we'll be discussing at our first Be Women Reading Club on April 17. And all of you are welcome to that reading club. So a few more seconds, Be Women Empowering Move. So while you hear this, I want you to feel this empowering move all the time. That is to put your shoulders back, chin up, make your eyes twinkle with determination and joy, and with a super wide smile that illuminates everybody around you for all the days that are coming of our isolation. With a super smile, please, Carine, the line is all yours, and 16 as well.
Thank you, Laura, for this amazing introduction. It's an honor to be here on the line. It's an honor to be part of making an impact in the world. I was born to make a difference, and this is just another step. Everyone, thank you for stepping up. Thank you for saying, yes, I want to better my life. I want to step up. And thank you for being on this call today. So I'm super, super excited. And the first thing I'm going to say, you hear the accent, is from Brussels, Belgium. I've been in Texas for over 20 years. And everything I'm going to share with you today are tools that I've used over the last 20 years to be where I am today. The big question is, what stories do we have, right? And Laura introduced this workshop today by really sharing my favorite question that I ask day in, day out to every single client on a coaching call. What if this virus was absolutely the very best thing that could have ever happened to you, to your business, to your family? What if, right? Because what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. What if this is the very best thing? Now, I remember a long, long time ago, a morning, just a morning like every morning, and I had a pair of jeans on, I had a cute little blue top, and I had one baby in a baby carrier, and I have my cute little daughter holding her hands, and I was on my way to school to drive her there. And then we heard the news, 9/11. I remember this time like it was yesterday. And I know for a fact that every single one of you here know exactly what you were doing that day. We do. However, do we know what we did the Monday before? Do we remember what we were wearing? Who we were with? Probably not. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. 9/11, because the emotions were so high, it's imprinted in our brain. We will remember forever. We will always have that story. But what's happening now, the COVID-19, will be with us forever. And so my question to you is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now, when you are in your rocking chair and your granddaughter comes and say, Grandpa, I'm in history class and we talked about this thing that happened in 2020. What's your story around it? Can you share with me? I want to invite you to think about what's going to be your story. Is it going to be, oh yeah, I remember those times. Boy, it was hard. And when we finally got out of isolation, whew, I put on 15 pounds. And oh my gosh, I remember Netflix. I watch every single show on there. Was it going to be I cried every day? I felt miserable. I couldn't wait to get out of there? Or is the story going to be, oh yeah, I remember those times. Oh my gosh, that's the time I wrote a book. That's the time I changed career. That's the time I finally connected with my family and I stopped being so stressed. What is your story going to be? Think for a moment right now. And by the way, amazing team here, please take notes. Take notes like crazy. Take notes like you're going to teach it to someone else. Because when you take notes and you fully participate and engage and answer the question on paper, you will be able to retain more than 90% 4 weeks from now. So take notes like crazy. So the question is, just put a few keywords on your paper right now. What do you want the story to be when you relate to those times that you will remember forever? Who do you want to become through those times? For those of you who were not on the call on Tuesday, I'll strongly invite you to go back and listen to the call, because we really talked about emotions don't happen to us. We have the power to control our emotions. And to control our emotions, quick reminder here, we can change our physiology, we can change our focus by asking better questions, and we need to change our language. And I'm bringing this back today because how do we speak about those times right now? It is hard, I'm stuck, or is it a gift? And I'm making the most of it every day. What language are we using? What are we focusing on? Do we have self-discipline? Are we lost in social media and news all day long? Or do we have some self-discipline where we decide, hey, I am not going to watch more than 30 minutes of news today. And if I go on social media, it's because I'm working on my business and, you know, I have to do my posts for my business page or whatnot, but I'm not going to be scrolling for hours. It's going to take self-discipline. It's going to take to get up in the morning and put a bra on, put makeup on, put clothes on, just like if you were going to work. It's really stepping up, right? It starts with our physiology. It starts with our focus. What do we decide to focus on? But really, transformational vocabulary, right? Change your TV channel, change the word that you are using, and come up with more empowering words. That's really where it starts. So my story, I will, you know, when I get out of this, because all of us will get out of it. At one point, there will be an end. And the question is, are you going to get out stronger or not? And when I get out of it, I know that I will have a new program for my private coaching business. That's my goal, to have a new program all set up. And I'm excited about it because now I'm gifted the time to do things that I always said I don't have time. So here's an amazing tool for you to use while we are all in isolation, sheltered in, whatever you want to call it. We want to make the most of our time. And I'm going to introduce to you a concept. It's the low suffering list. Low suffering list. I would like for you to think about in your home, in your life, maybe even about yourself, what are the things that gives you low suffering? And low suffering means it occupies your headspace when you see it. So let me give you a few examples. In our home, or our doorknobs are brushed nickel. Absolutely love my house. It's beautiful. I feel amazing in it. And I'm the type that really like everything to be nice, clean, organized. That's how I feel great. But the doorknobs, they all brush nickel, except one French door who has gold. What the, why gold on one door? And for the last 5 years, every day I've walked in front of those doors, and every time I'm like, whew, I can't believe this. This gold is ugly. That goes on my low suffering list. Now here in Texas, it's really hot, and we have the sun beating on the front door every day. For the last 2 years, I've walked through that door, and every time I think, wow, I need to stay in this door. Looks pretty bad. And so there are things like that in your life that are there, and it gives you the low suffering. So it's time to really look at those. And what are you going to do with this list? Very simple. You come up with a list of everything that gives you that low suffering. Think about that drawer in the kitchen that's full of junk. And when you open it, it can't get stuck because it's so full. That's low suffering right there. Think about your closet where you still have clothes from 20 years ago, right? That's low suffering. It's time to do something about it. This time we were given is a gift. Let's do something about it. So come up with a list of all the things that occupy your headspace when you see it, and then decide how long will it take to take care of this? How much does it cost? Because some of the things will maybe come with a cost to fix it. How long, who can do it? It's not always you. Maybe there is a spouse that can help. Maybe there are kids that can help. And then from there, come up with priorities. And every day, tackle something on that list. Because when we tackle something, we'll have progress. When we have progress, we feel better. Progress equals happiness. So now I'm really curious, Sistine, what would be something on your low suffering list?
So the best thing I can think of is I still have photos on my phone from 2012 maybe. And I have so many photos of like repeats and photos that I don't need anymore, things I need to delete. I have maybe like 10,000 photos on my phone. And so I really need to go through and delete them all. And every time I go on my phone and look at my photos, it bothers me. And I mean, we're all sitting on our phones scrolling all day anyways. So really I could set aside an hour just to go through all of them. And that would be my low suffering.
Okay, thank you. I love that sharing. And everyone, think about that. What would go on that list and tackle the list? So that's list number 1, low suffering. Now, I would love for you to do an energy list, high energy list. And let me give you an example. They are things that you do in your life that when you do gives you energy, right? And I'll share an example with you right now. When I make my bed in the morning, it takes me 78 seconds. That's it, 78 seconds to make my bed. But let me tell you, at the end of the day, when I walk in that bedroom and the bed is made, and I've had a long day and I walk in that bedroom, it's absolutely beautiful and it gives me energy. I feel so good. I feel amazing. That's simple. What are the things that gives you energy? Is it when you walk in a kitchen and the kitchen is all picked up? Is it when you walk through your family room and you fluff the pillow so it just feels nice when you walk in there? What are the things that gives you energy? Is it when you get up in the morning and you do put a bra on and you go and put some makeup on, and every time you catch your reflection in the mirror, you feel amazing? Get clear on what are those things that gives you energy. And remember, some of those things might take energy to get the energy. So it could be when I step outside and I do a quick walk in front of my house, right? It could be when I spend 30 minutes doing yoga and after that I feel so much better. What are the things that gives you energy? You want to be really, really clear because you want to be working on those 2 lists as we are more home right now. That makes sense? Any question around that? Everyone's good? So from here, let's talk a little bit about what's going to be the story. Who do we want to be? Who do we want to become, right? What are we going to create for ourselves? But when we create something, we need to use the manifestation equation, and that's going to be really the difference. By the way, if you see me looking on the right here, I have like an agenda of what I want to talk about, and once in a while I make sure I'm on track because that's me. I can go on and on forever. So manifestation equation. Please write this down. It's super important. It's clarity plus alignment plus actions equal results. Clarity plus alignment plus action equal results. So here's the truth. We have to have mental clarity on what we want, right? You have to have mental clarity on what you want, what you are after. But at the same time, you have to maintain a feeling, a state of allowing, a state of non-resistance. That combination of feeling good, of feeling excited and content with what is, while at the same time being clear about what more we want, is going to open the doors for more to come into our life. Now, when we are in a state of allowing, we feel good, right? We feel peaceful. We feel, you know, we are in this state of allowing is really a state of surrendering. It's a state of relaxation. But if that state is not balanced by mental clarity, by being super clear of what is the essence of our desire, what it is that we are really after, then we will lack that creative drive to go after what really we want. And the creative drive is so important to be able to manifest our intention. The bigger our goal, the clearer our intention needs to be, because then we'll be able to allow it in our life. Now, here's what happens. When we have too much clarity without allowing enough, that's when we're going to have feelings of irritation, frustration, and even anger, right? So too much clarity. We so know what we want, but we're not allowing it to happen. You have irritation, frustration, and anger. Now, if you have too much allowing, but you don't have enough clarity, it gets you to a place where you're going to get bored. You're going to feel aimless. You're going to feel resigned. You're going to feel depressed. And the results that will come will be really slow.
Can you give us an example of a manifestation equation?
Yeah, great question. So here is one. I think everyone can relate to this. So let's say you decide you want to release some weight, right? You want to lose some weight and you decide by June 1st, I'll be 15 pounds lighter. So really, really clarity here. We know exactly by June 1st, 50 pounds lighter. And then to be aligned would be to believe that, yes, we can do it. We're going to make it happen. We are decided. We are in state. We have an empowering story around it. And then from there, we'll take action. We'll be careful about, you know, what we put in. We'll have a plan of action around our food. We'll have a plan of action around our fitness and whatnot. So we have clarity, we are aligned, and we are taking massive action. We will get the results. Now, what happens is if we are not using this equation correctly, we can have clarity, right? June 1st, 15 pounds lighter, but not being aligned. Not being aligned would be something like, well, I'm not sure this is going to work. Because honestly, last time I did this and I tried, after a few days, I fell off the wagon and it didn't work. Or, you know, every time I go on a diet, I keep doing this yo-yo thing and it keeps, you know, it works and then I put it back on and oof, not sure it's going to work. I'm going to give it a try, but we'll see, right? Or we could have clarity, be aligned, but then our actions don't reflect what we want. We go for the extra ice cream and the extra carbs and whatnot. So you want to be really clear what it is that I want, what's the result, be aligned with that, and then take the actions, because then you will manifest what you need to manifest. Okay? So notice an area of your life where you are experiencing some discouragement, right? You are impatient, you are discouraged, it's never going to work out. And notice that area in relation to a goal or a desire that you have. And then see if you can identify what's going on based on the way you feel. Do you need to generate more clarity, or do you need to generate more allowing? If it's more clarity, revisit the vision, right? Get really clear. What do you want and why you want it? Why is it so important to you? If it's more allowing, then Look at everything in your life that works and generate more appreciation for it. Acknowledge and celebrate yourself for all the energy that you've put in that one area to transform your life. Because your job at that point is just to breathe and receive. Okay, so very, very important. Now from here, I want to make sure I share with you, we're talking a little bit about manifestation, but this is so clear to really understand. We're creating this new story right now. And we want to make sure everyone understands how to manifest whatever we want in our life. So I'll talk for a second about manifestation in 3 dimensions. And dimension number 1 is we just have an affirmation. And here is what it looks like. Let's say you want to manifest. I'm going to go very general example. Let's say you've always dreamed of having a house on the lake and you want to manifest that. Dimension number 1 will be, well, one day, Sistine, you know what? I'll have a house on the lake. That'll be nice, right? But manifestation level 2 will be, Sistine, you know what? One day I'll have a house on the lake. It's going to be so nice. It's going to be, with a little thing so the boat can come. And oh, by the way, I'm thinking maybe 3 bedrooms. And we do need a 2-car garage because we're going to have jet ski. That'll be so much fun. Can you see how much fun that's going to be? Right?
Yeah.
But manifestation number 3 is like this. Sistine, you are not going to believe this. I went yesterday to the house and I saw that there was a sale at the store. So I quickly went there. And then guess what? I found those blue towels to put in the bedroom. Oh my gosh, I found those amazing pair of sheets to put on your bed. Guess what? They had a sale on my favorite candles. There's vanilla all over the place. Oh, and by the way, I've already asked at what time the sun's going to rise. I got a bottle of champagne for us in the boat. It's ready to go. We're going to have so much fun. Can you see the difference here? When we manifest in a level 3, we are stepping into it like it's a done deal. It has happened. And we use our 5 senses. We give smell, color, we feel it. It's a done deal. We are in it. So this is what I want to invite you to do. Look at who do I want to become during this time here? What story am I creating? Do I see myself with this book in my hand because I just wrote a book and I have it in my hands and I can feel it and I can smell it. I can smell the fresh ink. Is that what I want to see myself doing during this time? Write a book? Is it taking a class and now I realize, oh my gosh, I got the certification and I step into that moment where I'm telling everyone in the family, I did it, I got the certification? What is it that we want to create for ourselves? And step into a manifestation level 3 where you are aligned with it and you make it happen. Now, I'll give you a quick other example and then we'll jump into getting that clarity. My husband and I wanted to get a new house. This was probably 8 years ago. And we got really clear on what we wanted the house to be. We knew how many rooms, we knew the land, the garage, no garage, we knew everything. We got so clear. And we found the house and fell in love with the house. Immediately when we saw the house, we knew it was ours. We aligned with it, like knowing that no matter what, we were going to figure out a way. And we took massive action. Now, there is a story about the house because the house was for foreclosure. And whoever had lived in the house before was doing everything she could to not be found by anyone. For months, we searched, we talked to investors, to bankers, to real estate, to people, we searched to find who was, behind that house. It's a long story. I'm not going to tell you now. You're going to think it's really funny if I tell you the entire story. But the thing is, it took us 9 months to finally be in that house. And we had to be aligned. It was not easy because in the meantime, we had sold our home and we were pretty much homeless for 6 months. But we knew that no matter what, we were going to have the house. We finally found the owner. We finally started the negotiation and whatnot with her. It was a difficult case because there was I forgot the word in English. Probate. Yeah, there was a probate case aligned with the house. So it was just a different case. But we were so aligned and we knew it. We saw ourselves in the house. And we saw ourselves in the house so much that when the trucks finally came in to bring our containers with all our belongings, within less than 2 or 3 hours, the entire house, everything was unpacked and everything was put away, because we had done it so many times. In our brain, in our mind, in our heart, we had moved into the house so many times, and we made it happen. Even when doubt came, even when we felt like, oh my gosh, maybe we need to go to the plan B, maybe we need to go and look for another house. Every time we came back to being alive, surrendering, knowing that everything happens when we can create it here. Guys, here's a question for you. Ladies, here's a question for you. Are you a manager of your life circumstance? Are you a manager of your life circumstance? Or are you a freaking creator of your life? Which one is it going to be? Because this is what needs to happen right now. We don't want to step into, I'm just managing my life right now, and Netflix and food and this and complain. Or am I a freaking creator of my life? I'm stepping into this beautiful opportunity and I'm creating a different story, and I'm already seeing it as it's done. It's a done deal. Remember? First call on Tuesday, a mandates of leadership. We see it as it is, not worse. Here are the facts. Here's what's going on. But then we see it better than it is. And we spend, number 3, we spend our time and energy making it the way we saw it. So let's step up as leaders here. Let's make it happen. In order to do that, we need to go into a clarity exercise. So here you're going to write this down, and you're going to do it after our call. But please do this exercise. Imagine it is April 2021. And you're going to look back. You step into April 2021, and you're looking back all the way to April 2020. And you pretend this was the best year of your life. You're in April 2021, you're looking back, and it was the best year of your life. A year from now, what are you going to say when you're looking back? Are you going to say, hey, I finally made that move and I got the new career? I stepped out of my job? Are you going to say, yes, it wasn't easy March and April last year, but that gives me what I needed to have the push and finally go after my dream? Are you going to say, hey, I got the guy, I changed out, I lost 25 pounds? I went to Hawaii for Christmas. I wrote a book. What are you going to say? It's your best year ever. What are you going to say? Then you're going to step into 2 years from now. You're going to step into April 2022. And you're going to look at what has happened between April 2022 to April 2021. What are you going to say for that year? Because that year is even better than the last year. 2 years from now, you're going to say, I only work, maybe 10, 15 hours a week. Oh, by the way, I travel everywhere in first class. Are you going to say, hey, I just ran a marathon. It was phenomenal. What are you going to say 2 years from now when you look back? Do this exercise, because when you do this exercise, it will give you some insights on what it is that you truly want inside. Okay?
Okay, so now that we're clear on what we want, what is the system or the steps we need to take to make these things happen?
That's great. Thank you. That you're keeping me on track right here. Okay, so you're really clear on what it is that you want. You've looked 1 year, 2 years from now. You bring it back to, okay, what needs to happen within the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? And we're going to be flexible here. We don't know how long we're going to be here. So let's just, within the next quarter, what needs to happen? What are my first steps to be able to reach there? So for example, if it is that I want to run a marathon within the next 12 months, well, what needs to happen within the next 90 days? Well, I better get my little butt out and start at least running a 5K, right? I better get outside. So what needs to happen now in order to achieve the results that I want then? And the way to do that, we're going to use a system. It's called RPM. And this system is, I give credit, it's from Tony Robbins. And it's a way of thinking. And Tony uses this to manage his over 50 companies and whatnot. Every time he wants to achieve something, he always RPM the situation. RPM stands for results focus, purpose-driven, massive action plan. So results focus, purpose-driven, massive action plan. Now, if I go back to our call on Tuesday I taught you to never ask, how am I going to do this? How is always we shift the letters to who. Who do I need to be? But once we know who do we need to be and we step into leadership and confidence, the next question we're going to ask is what it is that I want. So who, what it is that I want, that's our result. Then we'll go into why do I want this? And then we'll go into how we're going to do it. So how is always last. Okay? So who, what, why, how. Always in that order. So let's talk about it. Results focus. That means you're going to get really clear on what it is that you want. You're going to get clear and you're going to use the SMART format to write a goal, to write a result. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time defined. Okay? Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time defined. So let's say over the next 30 days, thank you, 16. Over the next 30 days, you want to release 10 pounds. You're not just going to write, release 10 pounds. You're going to write release 10 pounds by June 1st, 2020, this year, right? Get super, super specific. That's the first thing you're going to do. Then you're going to step into, and by the way, let me share this with you. If you say to me, and I see this often happening in coaching, if a client comes to me and says, oh, by the way, what is my goal and the result that I want? Well, here's what I want. I want to run 5 times a week. Running 5 times a week, it's an action. My question as a coach is going to be, okay, what are you going to get from this? Well, when I run 5 times a week, I'm going to be ready to, I'm training to run that half marathons a few months from now. The goal is really to run a half marathon. The action is run 5 times a week. So be aware when you're writing your result that it's really a result, not an action. Make sense, everyone? From here, you're going to step into your why. This is the most important thing right here, the why. You want to create that leverage. You want to have a very solid why. And I'm going to give you 5 keywords to create your why. You want to ask yourself, what will it feel? So what will it feel to reach my goal? Once I reach that goal, what will it feel? What will it mean? What will it mean to reach my goal? What will it mean for me? What will it mean for my family when I reach that one goal? Who do I become? Who do I become on this journey to reaching the goal? Because at the end of the day, it is never about reaching the goal. At the end of the day, it's the journey. It's who we become as we are getting closer to our goal. So who do I become? And then you're going to look at pain and pleasure. So our 5 keywords are feel, mean, become, pain, pleasure. Because we do so much to avoid pain. And we're going to do a lot to get pleasure. Pain and pleasure are the drivers. And you need to understand, and we call that leverage, right? You need to understand, how do you function? Do you function by wanting to avoid pain at all time? Or do you function more by constantly focusing on the pleasure you're going to get when you do something? People will avoid pain short terms, forgetting that they're going to have pain long term, right? Like, yes, I'm going to go for the cookie. I don't want to say no. But they forgot that all those cookies, they're going to add up. And then the pain comes of being totally overweight, right? So you got to get really clear what is leverage to you. And you want to feel it because, yes, you know who you need to be. You know what you want. And then when you get clear on your why, you will be unstoppable. You need to know exactly, why do I want this? Why is it important to me to be sitting in that rocking chair 40 years from now and being able to tell that powerful story to my granddaughter? That yes, when I came out of this, I had a new job, I had a new certification, I wrote a book, I released the weight, whatever your story is going to be. But why is it important? And the minute you understand your why, and you make sure that your why has a sense of urgency, it is a must. It is a must, and it's urgent. Again, you will be unstoppable.
What are some of the examples of leverage you've used with your clients in the past? Like, what could people be using as leverage?
Okay, so that's great. So here is some example. We're going to do more for ourselves, for others, than we do for ourselves. That's one thing. And so when you do leverage, you always understand why is it a must and why is a sense of urgency. So I'm going to go back to my example of weight, because that's something that everyone can relate, instead of being specific about careers here. So let's go back to weight. If you go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh my gosh, you know, you're really overweight here. I mean, if you don't drop 50 pounds, I mean, I'll see you back 2-3 years from now. You'll be in the ICU, you'll have diabetes, you have heart problem. I mean, you got to do something. It's time. Well, I'm going to go home, and am I going to do something about it? Yeah, maybe for a few weeks, few days, right? Because there is no sense of urgency. There is no must. It's so far in the future. But if I go to that same doctor and the doctor do, you know, checkup and whatnot and say, you know what, Carine, you got to be 50 pounds lighter and you better start working on this. Because if you don't, 2 months from now, you're back in here in the ICU. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything for you. Do you think I'm going to go home and absolutely do something about it and totally change my way of doing things? You betcha. Okay? So you first need to be really, really clear. What is it a must? And connect with that, because your leverage is the fuel. And often we find the leverage inside of us, but sometimes we don't find it. And that's why we look outside. And so example of, that was a long answer to a question. I'm getting to it. Here we are. The example of some leverage I've used with my clients is, so I had a guy, he had released over 100 pounds. And he was doing really good. We were still 20 pounds away from his goal. And for whatever reason, he kept going yo-yo with that last 20 pounds until one day I put my foot down and I'm like, come on, Jose, we got to do something here. We are so close to the finish line. Let's make it happen. And so we come up with exterior leverage. Jose is a really wealthy man. Money is not an issue for him, but he had an ex-wife. And that ex-wife, the divorce was so painful that just the idea of even talking to her, saying her name, it would go straight into shutdown. He cannot stand the memories of the divorce, the ex-wife and whatnot. I knew that about him. That was leverage right there. So I got Jose to send me a check for $1,000. So not that big of a deal for him. But what was the big deal? The check was written to his ex-wife with a date on it. And if Jose had not released the weight within a certain date, I was going to send the check. Absolutely. So that was an amazing leverage. And I promise you, this guy released all the weight and some way before that date. Just the idea of having to sending that check was just absolutely no. Okay, so sometimes we find leverage outside. Now I had another guy, this one, he needed to finish a dissertation to have his PhD. And he was procrastinating. And we had calculated he needed to spend this many time every day. And through our coaching call, we realized he was kind of not on target and not spending the time and procrastinating and finding excuses. So for him, we put double leverage. This was so important. And he booked a cruise, a Disney cruise for him and his kids for right after the day the dissertation was due. And he paid for it. And he told his kids. And if he wasn't done with the dissertation, well, guess what? Pain. We're not going on the cruise, kids. I'm sorry. And then they lost the money. I mean, he would lose the money from it. So there was double leverage there. There was the pleasure of knowing when I'm done with this, I'm taking the kids on a cruise. But there was the pain. If I don't do it, I'm losing everything. And then having to face your kids. Sorry, that's screwed up. We're not going on a cruise, right? So find leverage inside of yourself, maybe the people around you can help you with that, or find something exterior. But you got to find leverage, because when your why is so big, you will always find a way to make it happen. Okay? It's the fuel. It's really the fuel. Now, let's talk about the last part of our RPM. M stands for MAP, Massive Action Plan. This is where you're going to take time to make a list of all the things that you can think of that will get you to your goal. And here, have fun. Write whatever you want on that list. Don't filter the thoughts. Just put everything you want on that list. And then once you've done that brain dump and you wrote everything you thought of, you're going to go back to all those items and you're going to look at what are the top 3 here that I could do that will definitely get me a step closer. You're going to look at how long does it take to do that. You're going to put a date on it. By when will I do it? And then you're going to schedule it. So let's look at our weight example. We want to release 15 pounds by June 1st. We get really clear on our why, but then we step into the map. And in the map, I'm going to see things like measure, you know, where I'm at. I'm going to see like, this is first my first list, right? I'm going to see, put a picture of myself in the closet, get rid of the clothes that are too big, you know, start eating healthy and do the right groceries, maybe sign up for a meal prep, go and exercise. So I'm putting a list of things that I can do. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to look like measure. Okay, well, I need to measure every day or once a week, whatever we decide. I'll write it down. I forgot what I put on there, but get rid of everything that's in my closet. All the clothes are too big. I'm going to do that by Saturday, April 6 or 7. I don't even know the dates. I'm going to do that. Isn't that funny how right now the days are kind of right? But within the next 3 days, I will take care of the closet. Exercise, way too vague. Well, every day I'm going to go out for 30 minutes and walk. I'm going to make sure that I'm measuring that I have a minimum of 10,000 steps, for example. So you go back to what you wrote and you get very specific, and then you schedule it in your agenda. So every day when you wake up, it's not about, oh, what do I have to do today? It's about, what do I want to do? Because I know I'm working on my weight, I'm working on the certification, I'm working on my low energy list. What do I want to do today? And everything is scheduled and it's right there. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah, is this a part of what you call leverage? Because I think you always mention the importance of leverage in
So leverage is your why. Yeah, it's your why. Your leverage needs to be so big. The reasons why you want this needs to be so big. And honestly, when we write our why, get to this place where you feel emotional about it. Get to this place where you truly touch your heart. Ask yourself, why do I want this? And then you'll come up with an answer. And then take that answer, but why do I want that one answer? And get deep and deep and deep and really touch your heart. Get to this place where...
What is to touch your heart in the why? Can you give us an example, please?
Yeah, so that book that I wrote, I wanted to write it for so long. And I didn't write it for so long. Until last year, my sister got diagnosed, a really bad diagnosis with cancer. And it was horrible. And they gave her a few months to live. That was my wake-up call. That was leverage right there. That was like, Carine, what are you doing? You've said you wanted to write a book. And look, your sister, who is so sick, and she wrote a book. She said she was going to write a book, and she did it. And now she's so sick, and we don't know how many months she's going to have. And you just going about your life, and the things that you said were important to you, Carine, you didn't do. Well, what's the matter with you? What's really going on there? And I went to that place where it was like, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror for not being true to myself and my needs and what I needed. It was a huge wake-up call. I felt it in my heart. Life is so precious. We don't know. It's not guaranteed. We don't know if we have tomorrow. What am I waiting for? And I went into the pain of that, of the pain of not being true to myself. And I felt like I was failing my sister. Here she is fighting for, true cancer, and doing everything she can and enjoying every day, every moment, and being true to herself. And here I'm just going about my life and talking about dreams, but not taking massive action. So for the book, that was my massive leverage. I felt it in my heart. And does that answer your question? To really go back to the truth of who you are, what do you want, why is it important?
And how do you remember your why every day? Because sometimes, you know, yes, tell us.
Go ahead. Sometimes, go ahead.
Sometimes why be women? Why am I here in this world? Why do I want to make a difference? And so you say to connect with your emotions when you want to connect with your why, because otherwise, if you just say it, it's not enough.
It's not enough. You're
Yes.
absolutely right. You need to know why. You need to make it so big that every morning you get up and you're excited to take on life. Every morning you're excited to take that next level. So you connect with your why every day. And going back to the weight example, right? You can decide, you have clarity on what it is that you want. You are aligned with it. You're feeling good. I'm doing this. I'm going to make it happen and feel confident. And then you take massive action. But add to that, connecting with your why, remembering why it is that I want this. Is it just because, hey, it's nice to say I release weight? Or is it because I'm sick and tired of feeling, out of breath when I go up the stairs and I want to play with my grandkids and I want to start feeling better in my body, and every day connect with that. Okay, when we write a why, we connect with it every day. Don't hesitate every morning to look at the actions, the goals that you have that you're going after, and reading your why again, feeling it here. But I promise you, when you do the exercise of getting clear on what, creating your why and coming up with a plan, if you spend enough time on your why, it will be right from here. And once you touch this, you don't really need to be reminded every day because it's here. You become unstoppable. When you get clear on your why, there is this switch that's going on. This switch that it's not an option not to achieve what I want. I'm going to make it happen no matter what. Okay? Makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense. And then you always mention the non-negotiable list that I have also in the morning. In my case, is to have a cold shower, dry brushing, meditation, and I try to do those 1-minute things every day. And what does this connect with your RPM, and how do you create a non-negotiable list that works?
Okay, great question. So non-negotiable, let me ask you a question, Laura, to really bring the non-negotiable concept to everyone. Do you, in the morning, when you wake up, do you have a conversation in your head that says, Laura, is this a good day to brush my teeth and take a shower? Do you have that conversation going on?
No, brushing my teeth and having a cold shower after 3 or 4 years of doing this is not even a question. I just do it.
Exactly, right? There is no conversation going on in your head because it's non-negotiable. It's part of who we are. And as we are here in this, in this time where we shelter in, get clear on what are my non-negotiable. Are my and it's going back to the first concept I shared, self-discipline, right? What are my non-negotiable? No matter what, I'm up by this time in the morning. No matter what, I meditate every day. No matter what, I brush my teeth, I take a cold shower, I do a gratitude journal. What are your non-negotiable that are part of who you are? Create those rituals, create those habits that are healthy and that keeps you going. That's exactly. And so when you look at your RPM, what you're going to do, you're going to look at 2 or 3 areas of your life. And you're going to ask yourself what it is that I want to achieve here. What do I want to achieve for my relationship while we're all at home together? What do I want to achieve for my health? What do I want to achieve for my career? What do I want to achieve for my personal self-development? And get really clear. Get clear on why it's important to you. Come up with a map. And in that map, there will be certain items that becomes non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. It is just the way it's going to be. I'm not going to be debating with my brain if I'm going to do it today or not. It's just non-negotiable.
Yeah, and I remember once I read a book that you recommended called, I don't remember the name of the book, but it said the importance of saying, 3, 2, 1, 0, and doing it without thinking. Because when you ask yourself questions, that's the issue. When you ask yourself questions of whether you want to get up at 5 or not, by the time you start asking questions and thinking, your brain starts to go all over the world and you don't get up at 5. You know,
yeah, it's the 5-second rule, right? If the 5-second rules, do not negotiate with your brain. Do not negotiate with your brain, because your brain will want to negotiate with you. So let's say one of your non-negotiable is to take a cold shower in the morning. But I mean, come on, ladies, guys, picture this, right? You are ready to go in the shower. You know what's coming down. It's really, really cold. If you don't just go in that shower and command your brain, then it will kick in. Ooh, it's cold. Ooh, maybe I'll just skip it for today. Ooh, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm just going to turn the warm on, right? Our brain constantly wants to negotiate with us. And if we don't do exactly what we say we were going to do within those 5 seconds, you're lost. So non-negotiable, there is no negotiation with your brain. There is brain, thank you for being there. I know you want to protect me, but I'm doing good. I got this, and go for it.
Yeah, especially, for example, I love to be in the 5 a.m. club. And so as soon as my alarm goes on, I say 5, 3, 4, 2, 1, 0, up, and I'm up. And I go straight to the cold shower. And then I get it done. And then I feel good about it. And that's why I really love the non-negotiables.
Yeah, and remember we talked about the energy list. And the energy list is like, what gives me energy? And when you get up in the morning and you go and you take that cold shower, boom, it gives you the energy for the rest of the day, right there by doing that. So a cold shower, as an example, could be part of your energy list.
Excellent.
Now we talked about, and I'm going to go back here because this is super important. On Tuesday, if you listen to the call, at one point at the end of the call, we talked about creating incantation. And when we create an incantation, it's really an affirmation that you put movement with it. You create motion, because when we create motion, we create emotions, right? And so it's not an incantation. It's not all I need is within me now, but it's all I need is within me now, right? I create emotion with it. I feel it. I feel it everywhere in my entire body. I know it. It's part of who I am. And so create some incantation for this time that you're here. I am successful. I'm blessed. I am healthy. Whatever those incantations are. And you can create incantations for the goals that you want to achieve. So let's say you want to release those 15 pounds by June 1st. On your list of your map, all the actions you're going to take, it's doing incantation. But you're going to create an incantation saying something like, I happily and effortlessly release 15 pounds by June 1st. Yes. Okay. I happily and effortlessly release 15 pounds by June 1st. Yes. And it becomes part of who you are. But here is the kicker. I'm going to give you a quick tool. It's called BLAB. B-L-A-B. BLAB. The first B stands for beginning. The L is learning. The A, allowing. And B, becoming. So beginning, learning, allowing, becoming. Your brain might kick in right now and say, well, are you serious? You really think you're going to be able to be happily and effortlessly releasing 15 pounds by June 1st? Okay, I'm not too sure I believe, right? Your brain will go there. Your brain will create dots in everything. And so when you realize the dots are showing up, you're going to create the blabbing tool. You're going to use the blabbing tool. You're going to do something like, I am beginning to be someone who release effortlessly 15 pounds by June 1st. I am learning to be someone who release 15 pounds by June 1st. I'm allowing myself to release 15 pounds by June 1st. And I am becoming someone who release 15 pounds by June 1st. By using the blabbing tool, we created a bridge between a limiting belief, I can't do this, with the reality and what it is that we really want. Okay? So use blabbing. If you're looking right now, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this time, and I need to figure out a different career, and then your brain goes blah, blah, blah. It's not going to work. You don't have what it takes. You don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. Create a blabbing around this. That's funny. I say blah, 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 and then I tell you to blabbing. That's funny. Okay, but use the blabbing tool. Like decide what it is that you want and claim it. And just using the blabbing tools a few times will get you to this place where you create the incantation that really resonate with you. And then you use that incantation again and again and again. I shared in the example on Tuesday, when I burned the boats in July, I created an incantation. So burn the boats, it means you can't turn around, right? And I made a big decision in July where I got to make this happen. And I burned all the boats. I couldn't turn around. I was ready to take on the island. And then the next morning, we're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Well, I better figure out a way to make it happen and take on the island. How am I going to do this? Well, just increasing, getting 5 new private clients in my private practice will really make a difference. So that's what I'm going to go for. And I created that incantation. I have 5 new private clients by August 1st. Yes. And every day, 10 minutes in the morning, in the shower, in the car, at night when you wake up and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? Put it on a loop. Put your incantation on a loop. This is part of what I shared at the beginning. It's a done deal. You step into it. You own it. You feel it inside of yourself. But if your brain kicks in and says, I'm not too sure you're going to be able to do it, watch me. I'm beginning to be someone who attracts 5 more clients. I'm learning how to do it. I'm allowing myself to attract 5 more new clients. I'm becoming someone who attracted 5 more new clients, right? You're taking control of this. You taking control of your brain by using incantation, by using the blabbing tool. And you can come up with a few different incantation. And what's very powerful is record yourself doing those and then listen to it as you're doing with it, because this is what's going to make a difference. Take control of this time. Take control of this time. Decide who you want to be on the other side of it. And today we shared a lot of tools on, what to do to get that clarity, knowing what it is that you want and how to go after what you want.
That's fantastic. So any other questions today from all of you before we close the session? I know we have a few minutes left, and a few minutes. I saw one question that was very interesting, that if you can re-clarify what is to be aligned. When you were talking about manifestation equation, if you can re-clarify what is to be aligned with your clarity and your actions to really get the results, please.
So yes, great question again. To be aligned is being aligned in what it is that we really want. Because if we decide we want to release that weight, but then we are not aligned and we have this internal dialogue, well, I'm not even sure it's going to work. I mean, in the past, I've been doing yo-yo like crazy. Why is it going to work today? Then we are not aligned. Okay. When we went to get this beautiful house here, we could have gone into, well, it's not going to work and I'm not sure and nothing is falling into place. We would not have been aligned by having that kind of dialogue, right? So you've got to be aligned. You've got to be clear on your dialogue. And that's why using an incantation, when you're clear on your goal, using an incantation to claim it, right? Using the blabbing tool to get back there, get rid of the doubts and the fears and whatnot.
Excellent. So first of all, I want to make sure that everybody knows that thank you for writing that book, because I've been reading it in the last few days and I've been totally inspired, and I think it's it's such a fast read, and so you actually inspired us because when we were actually canceling maybe 5 or 6 of the Be Women networking events in Geneva, in Mexico City, in London, I mean, everybody was so kind of sad that all this work we put in for so many months. And suddenly I said, yes, we will do, instead of having just, e-meetings where everybody just gets together. We're having book clubs where we get together and discuss things that matter so that we can all share and grow together. So we are having our first book club, and thank you, Carine, for this, with your book on the 17th of April at 4 p.m. UK time, and we'll send you the information shortly. But any other questions about what you learned? I think everybody is actually really talking and saying a lot of things of what are the call to actions today. Please raise your hand if you have any other questions that we want to talk about. You know, today we discussed, or Carine talked about a low suffering list, the giving energy list, the manifestation equation, your imagine list for 2021, 2022, your RPM, your blab, and your incantation. So you learned massively things that matter. So please, any questions, or if not, we're just gonna close in 1 minute. And so I hope everybody will really connect with us on the book club, because we're going to keep sharing. And on this, I'm going to thank you all. We, as you know, Be Women has bi-weekly webinars that are one more interesting. I'm learning a ton out of each one. And who are the speakers? Are you, Be Women, that are sharing their knowledge. So I invite you to actually, if you have something special to share, please call myself or Belen, that she's right here and is sending chats, and we will make sure to have you talk. Next week, we're going to have 3 webinars all about gender and issues to learn. How do we deal with learning about changing the world? In a few weeks, we're going to have also one about family forum. That is, how do you deal with your discussions as families? And so there's a methodology about that. Then we'll have one on conflict, the art of everyday peacemaking. That is about how, if you have a conflict that, you know, we are all confined for the next few months or days, hopefully. How do you deal with conflict? And basically, we'll continuously have book clubs and webinars. So on this note, I want you to all think of one thing that you learned today that you're going to actually take massive action.
So Laura, I love what you share. Yes, absolutely. I think that if everyone would just write in the chat box, what is your major takeaway today? What is this one thing? And then what is a commitment? What is one thing that you decide it's going to be part of my new story, and you commit to that? And I'm going to leave you with a gift here. Does anyone knows what is the antidote of frustration, anger, worry, stress, fear? Unmute yourself if you know what the antidote is, and just shout it out.
Kindness, meditation, listening to you, for sure.
Yes. So those are beautiful tools to use, right? But it's one word.
Gratitude.
Action.
Yes, for the win. Yes, it's gratitude. Guys, ladies, gratitude is the antidote of all the fears, all the frustration, all the anger. The minute you step into gratitude, it will be a game changer. Remember, what's wrong is always available, and so is what's right. Where focus goes, energy flows. One of my favorite quotes from Tony Robbins. So get clear. Where am I bringing my focus? What can I be grateful for today? Right? Every morning, make it a non-negotiable to write a list of what can I be grateful for today, and watch your entire day change. On your energy list, this is something that needs to be on there. Writing gratitude items every day. You will be amazed how you will feel very different all day. Thank you very much. And please reach out. You have my website, you have the book, you can go and read. It's full of amazing tools. It's really recipe for success in there. Great tools. And don't hesitate, reach out. I'm here. I'm here to make a difference. And my door is always open. So.
Really, Thank you, Carine. This has been really amazing. And what I think will come out of that is many of us will remember that this period of COVID-19 will be maybe the most important stepping stone in our life to grow and to really change and really matter. So please take advantage of all these tools. I'll see you in many of these webinars in the next few months. And please make that 3 gratitudes every morning. Imagine if the 8 billion people, before they jump out of bed, think of the 3 things they're grateful for. Would we be in an amazing world, wouldn't we?
Yes,
So,
and Laura, I don't know if you see the chat, but I love that people are stepping up. Some, Lindsay, she's going to start to build her business and design her every day. Exactly. I love it.
So thank you for the inspiration. I think we're going to have amazing things going on.